Morning, Ken.
Morning, Jack. How are you?
River looks well.
Oh, it's a lovely looking river, isn't it? It's beautiful. We've got an upstream wind, everything's perfect.
What are you doing? What are you fishing at the moment?
I'm fishing a waggler at the moment. You know, you can see a fast shallow out there. And with the sun on the water, it looks absolutely perfect.
What are you
Super.
catching? Have you got anything yet?
Yes, I've got about 5 or 6 pound of chub, 2 or 3 days, and a few gudgeons. But the chub are in good condition, they really are perfect.
You've not got any barbel yet? We want to have
No,
barbel.
not a barbel. The elusive barbel they are.
Because we want to catch them.
Because
We'll catch any today.
that's right.
We will eventually.
No, we'll catch.
What are the basic methods fishing this river then, Ken?
The 3. I would suggest the swim feeder, the stick float, and the waggler. And that's the waggler. What it is, I use a piece of peacock quill with an insert in the top, right? And then a piece of rubber here, which is some adapter that we use so that we can change the floats easy, and lead under the float. The stick float, in actual fact, as you know, the waggler is attached to the bottom ring only. The stick float is attached to the top and bottom, and the swim feeder, in actual fact, it's a container, which we'll show in a moment, where you put the maggots in and cast it out, and it's right on the bed of the river, and the fish take it.
That's why you would use a swing tip?
No, we wouldn't use a swing tip. The reason is that the swing tip on this river would be permanently up, because you've got a permanent flow through this. It's not a soft river, a slow river. It's a permanent current.
So swing tipping really is for still waters?
Yeah, that's right. Rivers like the Fens and the Nene and the Welland, on those slow, placid rivers. And plus still waters, of course, as you mentioned. But the waggler, in this instance, is a fair tool. It's a nice, competent method to use. And the stick float tends to be what I tend to do is use the stick float from the side to about a third across the river, and then from a third across the river across, use the waggler. The reason is you can cast the waggler far easier and there are less tangles altogether. So.
Your line lies in the water with a waggler, but with a stick float you would really like to fish it, or the way I was taught anyway, that you would fish it with your line direct to the top of your float.
That's right.
That's why you only fish the first third.
That's right. That's right.
Well, your equipment looks pretty simple. Would a beginner start with anything like this? Would this be...
Oh yeah, it's pretty simple really. It's what I've got in actual fact is a carbon fibre rod. Normal glass would be quite sufficient. But on a real moving water, as you can see, you're pretty active. You know, you're moving about all the time. It isn't one of these jobs where you cast in and leave it. You know, I'm casting in, moving all the time. So what you want in actual fact is something like a 12-foot rod, a reasonably light 12-foot rod. And the choice of reel, of course, is entirely to the individual, but I've got an open-faced reel. And it's obviously open-faced because you can see the line comes off that way. And it's quite easy to cast. And that's the bail arm, and that's when the bail arm is down. And what you do is, in actual fact, is cast. You put the bail arm over, and then you drop your finger on there and cast from there. And then when you trot down, you keep dropping your finger onto that there to stop the line going. And when you strike against your finger and knock the bail arm over, and you can reel back. Now, that is an open-faced reel.
So you came down this morning, Ken. How did you set about setting your piece of river up to fish it?
Well, some of it is basic knowledge. What you do is look for a reasonably nice piece of water, preferably, since it's on the 7, that you'd want a nice fast glide, something around about 3-4 foot deep, which would be very nice because, as you can see, the sun's out, so we want a little bit of ripple on the water. And then from there, I decided I would have a go at the waggler, looking for the fastest part of the river and put the waggler through it. The basic, what I do as far as feed pattern and feeding on the 7 is very, very important. I would suggest that's probably the be-all and end-all of everything.
Do you ground break at all here?
No, not on this fast, shallow ones, no. Down the lower 7, when it begins to get deeper, yes. But up the top of the 7 on this, it tends to be a loose feeding method. What I do, in actual fact, on a loose method, is cast out first, drop the rod on the rest, put some casters in a catapult,
You said the catapult on a river.
Yeah.
Where's it differ between a river and a still water?
That's the catapult I'm using at the moment, you see. And what it is, you can put your casters in there. It's got air holes, so that in actual fact it increases the line velocity. You can get it out quicker, and you can shoot it with no problems at all. And in actual fact, what I've done is plug the end so that if it drops in the water, in actual fact it floats, so you can pick it up. There's a couple of things that you need as basic equipment. One, you want a rod rest because you want to drop your rod on it. And the next, you want the rod rest not pointing really into the water, you want it roughly out of the water. So that when you drop your rod on it, right, it's there, but the line is actually going out that way. It's not drooping in the water or very near the water. So that if the float goes out there, you strike and you've picked up all the slack that's here, quite easily.
So you're straight into the air?
That's right.
I'm just looking at your float. Compared to still water fishing, you're sitting very, very high in the water.
Yeah, well, what it is, you see, you've got a shallow piece over there, and with a lot of whirligigs and sucking motions of the water rippling along, you see, it sucks the float under. And if you sit it very near the surface, with the movement of the water underneath, it gets sucked under and you're striking at false bites. They're not bites at all.
That was a bite.
That was a bite. You don't want to be striking at false bites that aren't really there at all. There we are. Look at the lice on him. Look at the lice there. See him? Turn it over. See him there? And that's a chub, that one. A small chub. Anyway, so it's dead easy to take the hook out when you're using barbers, isn't it? There we are.
Are you fishing barbless?
Yeah.
That's why you're missing them.
No, rubbish. Rubbish.
Fishing downstream like this, I should imagine, is a bit more awkward to catch because you're pulling the beard virtually out of the fish's mouth, aren't you? Swimming upstream.
Well, no, not really, because what you've got, you see, you've got an upstream wind here. In actual fact, when you put the float out there, it sits perfect there. And remember now, these fish, we're on a shallows. These fish are permanently fighting the conditions. So they're looking for bait. They're chasing the bait. They're moving out for it. It's not like still water where you've got to present it bang on. Here, they're actually moving to the bait.
You're fishing casters. I noticed you've put 2 on there.
That was a bite as well. Yeah. Well, what the idea of 2
Well, have a quick look at you putting them on now. I'd like to see the way you do that because I noticed you put 1 on.
Yeah,
you put them on upside down,
that's
one upside
right.
down.
What you do in actual fact, I'll put 2 on for you. Right, what I'm doing in actual fact is using 2 casters. I've got a 16 fine wire barber's hook. And what I put is 1 on the blunt end and thread it up the shank. Right, just like that. Then the other one through the narrow end. And I clip it on there like that. The reason is it stops line twist. I'll do it again so that everybody's happy. 1 with the blunt end up, and then the other one the other way with the point on the hook, just like that. It's a perfect float presentation.
What about the river, Ken? It's pretty much a Birmingham river this now, isn't it?
It is. It's a lovely river, though. Let's face it, the Severn, it's absolutely a cracker, as we'll say.
Well, I think you get every variety of fish up the Severn. You get trout, you get dace, you get perch, you get roach. In fact, every coarse fish known probably you'll catch in this river.
Yeah, it's a good assortment. It's a good assortment river. It's a good river that has a good population of all sort of fish. Because the new species, of course, that's not natural to the river, of course, is the one that you mentioned before.
The barbel, yeah. Well, that's why I wanted to catch them, because they were introduced here about, what, 20 years ago?
That's right.
And they've thrived, and now it's one of the best barbel rivers in the country.
That's right, and they're all from the original stock. All from the original stock of barbel.
The original stock of barbel was introduced into the river by the Angling Times in 1956. 509 barbel weighing up to 9 pounds from the River Kennet in Berkshire. They've bred so fast that in some areas they are now the dominant species.